Thank you. I'm so delighted that you asked that question because normally under the SBA, you go through a financial institution. This is the only time that we as SBA make the loan directly. And so you're able to come into the office, you can learn about how to process them through the phone numbers I listed, or you can go online and we can take you through the process. But this is where SBA is making the loans directly, so there's no need to go to a bank.
Is the microloan program for the Beaufort Black Chamber new?
We tested them for a year and they've done a terrific job, and we saw what kind of pipeline they have, so now we're giving them additional resources. Thank you.
You mentioned $2.5 million, of course, with extensive damage in a lot of parts. You expect you're going to have more calls. Is there any ceiling on how much money could be available for this?
To the specific individual, there are caps. So as I said, for personal property, it's $40,000. For a home repair, it's $200,000, and for a small business, it's $2 million. But there is, in other words, we have set aside in our budget ample resources to make sure that we can take care of everybody in need. So there's no rush to the line, but we do want everybody to come in. But we will be able to provide for anybody that needs the assistance and qualifies. We're budgeted for it.
It's
Is there specific criteria to document the amount of money that you wish to borrow? I mean, do you have to show the disaster, the damages in the form of an estimate?
Yes, we actually go out into the field, and it's a loan, and so we still look at the appraisals and to make sure that the resources that are being required are appropriate. And there's still just a little bit of underwriting, and people do have to qualify for it. Yeah, and you can get more details. I know that James is here, and he can provide you more details as well.
yeah, one of
What do you say to business owners who feel like they can't afford that loan? I know it's a low interest rate, but what do you say to them who say that I lost everything, I can't afford it even?
Right. Well, FEMA is here, and FEMA has a different relationship than we have. They're the first responders, and they're the ones that you would actually apply for actual grants. But ours are business and homeowner loans. The microloans and our loans are below market, and you have a really long repayment period. So we make them as affordable as possible. And I visited our people. We have a compassionate group of people, and I want to tell you that these terms are long and they're very below market. So I'd really encourage people who even think that they may not be able to afford them to at least take the time to learn more about the terms.
Madam Secretary. And obviously, as the Secretary has indicated, this is probably the cheapest capital you're going to find small businesses out there. It's also important to note that as we look at a comprehensive approach to dealing with the significant needs of the people of this region, these types of loans can serve as great leverage to hopefully a full package. We've engaged with Yvette Rowland from Senator Graham's staff here, and Dalton Tresvant from Congressman Cloburn's staff here. We've laid out some very significant requests that run across the spectrum of the federal government in the form of grant dollars and direct appropriations and others that hopefully, taking in their full context, will be able to complement the great work the SBA has been doing. And the Secretary was right on point early on, too. What makes this even much more significant is the fact that SBA has been on the ground here for several years doing great work. We've had a fantastic working relationship with their folks, and hopefully this allows it to grow and maybe prosper at an even faster rate right now. That's small business in action behind you guys, okay? That's small business in action. All right.
Do you have a sense yet of how many businesses have been impacted by this so far in Columbia yet?
Sure. I don't want to speak for the SBA. They may have some specific numbers at their disposal. Chuck, we've seen very brisk activity at City Hall. We've expedited the processes, the permitting and business license processes at the Washington Street office. So I can't tell you that, but again, I think it does underscore the point that the Secretary raised, is that we need, if people have been impacted in any way by these floods, we really need people to step up and make sure we know that. Whether it's applying through FEMA for assistance or through the SBA for a loan, just having the ability to document the needs of this community and those unmet needs is so significant as we look at this in a more global sense moving forward. So I'm sure as things begin to crystallize a little bit more, we can get you some more specific numbers, Chuck, but I don't have those available right now.
Right. But Chuck, you know what happens in these situations is that you have those who have been affected physically, and then you have the reverberations on the economic injury on the rest. So we have to see how quickly people are restored and brought back to business and working and just returning to work, because then that will limit and sort of contain the situation. But to the extent that people stop shopping and stop moving around, then it begins to affect
Sure.
and grows. And that's what we're trying to do. Is you have done such a great job here in the great state of South Carolina. You have one of the lowest unemployment rates in the country. You are building businesses. You are growing. Our country is experiencing 67 months of consecutive job growth. That's never happened in the history of the U.S. And South Carolina has been leading the way. So we're taking this project seriously. We want to make sure that we get everybody on their feet as soon as possible. And that's why we're trying to contain the situation, and why we want to encourage everybody, even if you think you might not qualify, to come in to learn how extensive the terms might be, considering the circumstances.
Secretary, you mentioned, does anyone know how many loan applications have been processed? I think you mentioned that 1,600 have been received, 110 approved. How many have been processed?
Well, when you say processed, I'm not sure. In other words, we have already processed and gotten the money out for 110 different businesses. We've approved 110 different loans already. But every day it's growing. I can see it growing and growing. And so we know that this is going to be one of our larger disasters.
So processed and approved is the same thing.
Processed and approved, and now we've got to get I don't know how many disbursements we've actually conducted, James. That takes a little longer.
Generally, the first disbursement goes out in 5 days once we get the loan closing documents done.
Once the closing documents are completed, he says our disbursement of actual cash is about 5 days after the loan approval. Is that a wrap? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.